All right, it's been 6 years since Bong Joon-ho gave us Parasite. He has finally come back to the director's chair with Mickey 17. You know, Parasite would have been a really good name for my short film that I made, which is available on this channel. But Leech is still, I think, a really good title. But that's not important. We're talking about Mickey 17 tonight. Welcome back to Movie Health Community, the internet's #1 source of health warnings at the movies. Mickey 17 stars Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Yeun, Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo, and Robert Pattinson. So we've got Robert Pattinson playing dual lead roles against a backdrop of a very thinly veiled political metaphor. We'll talk quality in a moment. For right now, let's talk health hazards. Is this movie safe for photosensitive audiences? The answer is that most of it is, but there are some strobe light hazards. A taser-like weapon is used in this movie, and it has a lot of little, very bright arcs of electricity that strobe. There are multiple scenes with cameras flashing really harshly, and there is brief use of rapid-firing firearms. Now, when these scenes happen, they're not always predictable, but the strobe effects never last very long at all. So for flashing lights, we're going to give Mickey 17 a 6 out of 10. In terms of motion, there is some flight high above the ground, but there are no shaking cameras in this movie. All the camera work is stationary or very smooth. For mental health, let's see what we've got here. There's an early scene where a pimple is popped on screen. There are multiple very sudden and out of nowhere instances of on-screen vomiting, and in a few of these moments, the contents are blood. There is some animal cruelty in this movie. The other warning I would give about this movie is a very macabre sense of humor. So if you're uncomfortable with a dark or macabre sense of humor, I would recommend watching a trailer to gauge the tone of the humor in this movie. That does it for warnings. Now let's talk quality. Is this movie any good? This is unfortunately only the 5th movie that I've seen in 2025, but it is by far the best of those 5. This movie was so entertaining, but also fascinating to watch on a technical level. The CG in this movie is pristine. There was never any disappointing or out of place CGI. And where I really have to hand it to the visual effects artists is how good they seem to be getting at putting 2 actors in the same scene together. Like when you watch Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, you can see kind of where they draw a line between where they separate the shots. And if you watch Avengers Endgame, where you see Captain America fighting Captain America, it's obvious that there's a lot of stunt doubles and that the face in the Captain America mask is Chris Evans' CG face on a stunt double. It is so much less obvious in Mickey 17 than I've ever seen in just about any movie with an actor playing dual roles. Like that alone is just really an impressive skill that it's fascinating to see the progress we've made and this new step in that progress. As a commentary piece on modern society, this movie worked really well. There was one performance in particular that felt very, very inspired by a very obvious modern figure, and in a few scenes, the veil on that metaphor on who that person is inspired by is so paper thin, it almost feels like they're doing an impression of said controversial figure instead of playing their own character. That being said, the metaphor works in this movie and the performance of that character is really good. Robert Pattinson has really become one of those actors that you never know what kind of movie to expect to see him in and what kind of performance he's going to give. It's like anytime you go see a Nicolas Cage movie or anything that Daniel Radcliffe has done post Harry Potter. It's so fun to see just how eccentric of a character, just how strange of a character some of these actors can come up with. And so I would definitely now put Robert Pattinson in that same camp as Daniel Radcliffe, moving past the property that made him so famous just to do the stuff he seems to find fun. I would say my only complaint about this movie is that late in the movie, there's a bit of a dump of exposition that's given, And the flow of the movie is kind of halted for that. The exposition leads to such satisfying conclusions, so it is worth sitting through. They do set up something exciting that could happen that never does end up happening on screen, but the way they handled it, I feel like, was really smart when they came back to address it. I think that's about all, so let's give this movie a grade. I am gonna give Mickey 17 an A. Thank you so much to our readers on Tumblr and Facebook, and as always, an extra special thanks to our patrons on our Patreon page, whose names are scrolling on the screen like credits right now. As a reminder, nothing produced by Movie Health Community is medical advice, nor has any of it ever been reviewed by any medical professionals. Be sure to leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we post new videos, and leave a comment if you have anything to add to this discourse, especially if you disagree with anything I've said. We love hearing from you. And as always, stay safe at the movies.